So if you remember in the format, the first thing we talked about was sales. You gotta get the sales right. If this number is wrong on the exam, guess what? Everything going forward is going to be wrong. Okay, so I passed out Form B. In the upper right-hand corner, you're gonna put this number. 20,387,500. Those are our total sales. If you remember in our format, we had sales, then we had cost of goods or cost of sales. So that's what we're going to figure out now. So the boss is going to say, okay, well, you told me we were going to do $20 million, Marley. This sounds like a pretty good account. What do you think the food cost will be? What's it going to cost me in goods? Remember we talked in planning? What am I going to have to spend on materials? But you're going to have an answer if you look smart. So let's figure it out. Right. What we know from historical data, if you look on the case history and we go down to Roman numeral 4, hot dogs and sausage represent 20% of the total sales. How do we figure out what hot dog sales are? What are expected hot dog sales for the year going to be? That's exactly right. So you're going to take 20% times 20 million, 387. So what is that? Don't fall asleep on me. It's only 10:30 in the morning.
That's sugar.
Yeah.
You crashing over there? 4,077,500.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I know it's broken. 4,077,500.
Very good. Now,
That goes under the dollar amount.
dollar amount, correct.
And you divided that number?
Nope.
No. How did you get there?
Okay, one more time. We know from historical data that 20% of all the sales come from hot dogs. Okay? What are total sales? Total sales times 20% equals 4,077,500.
Okay.
You're looking for X because to get the percentage you multiply, or you divide,
No.
right?
No dividing.
Well, no, I'm saying to get the percentage.
Give percentages, you do divide, but that not in this particular case.
Right, that's why it's the opposite, because you're finding X.
So now we need to know how much money do I need to have, liquid cash, to buy hot dogs. The way I figure that out is I look at the theoretical cost. What's the theoretical cost for hot dogs? 32%. Or it's going to be 0.32. So if I take the total hot dog sales times the theoretical cost of 32%, it's going to tell me how many dollars I'm going to need to buy hot dogs this year. Do the math. I mean, give me the answer.
1,304,800.
1,304,304.
304.
I didn't get
Did everybody get the same number?
I got 1,304,000. No, 800.
Okay.
That's just what I got.
All right, I guess I have to get my.
1,304,800,000. Sorry.
Oh, I did it again, yeah.
Okay, so it'd be 4,077,000. Oops.
He was right.
Who's right?
She was right.
She's correct. You're correct with the 800. Okay. Thank you. All we're going to do is repeat this process all the way down the line. So what are cold sodas? 15%?
Yep.
So what's 15% to 20 million?
$3,058,125.
What, 25?
125.
That's what I thought. Okay. And what is the theoretical cost of beverages?
11%.
11%. You guys see where Kevin got that?
Yes.
Okay.
Will we always have givens like that?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So what's 11% of 3,058,125?
336,393.75.
0.75. Now people always ask me, do I have to carry out the decimal points? The answer is yes, to two places.
Because it's money, right?
It's money, and when we get down to the bottom, you're going to see why it's important. Probably on an account of this size, the little nickels and dimes wouldn't matter much. It's not going to change the overall percentage. But on a smaller account, it would. So, like in Case History B, which is going to be your study guide for your exam, they're much smaller numbers. Now, I will say this is kind of unusual. In most cases, beverages account for somewhere around 50% of the total sales. So, for example, at the Paradiso movie theater, we're selling sodas. We're not selling much in the way of beer or alcohol, so it's typically 50%. However, what's interesting about this account is beer accounts for what, 38%? Probably because we have pro football. That demographic group is going to drink more beer than others. So now we're going to take 38% times 20 million, and what do we come up with?
Yeah.
Sharon, you're quiet. What's that number? 20 million times 38%. 20,387,500 times 38%.
Is, 7,724, 450.
50?
No.
Okay. Very good. 7 million. And the theoretical cost on beer is going to be 14%. So how much money do I need to buy beer?
Okay, wait.
Okay.
For total sales on beer, I got 7,747,250.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, so repeat that.
7,747,250.
Might have just missed a number or something.
Yeah. Or maybe I didn't hear you and you said it right. Okay. Times 14%. And what is that number?
$1,084,615.
Good. A couple of things that might be on a test going forward later in the year. How much do cold beverages account for?
50%.
What's an average kind of cost for cold beverages? 10 to 12%. So in this case, it's 11, so that looks right. These are just, I keep giving you ratios and generalizations, right? How much ice do you need per person? Half a pound. So if we went back to that attendance number that we looked at earlier, it was 1,425,000, I think, something like that. How much ice do we need to provide throughout the year? Over 700,000 pounds, right? Almost 800,000 pounds of ice. So we should have ice makers on the property that produce at least 800,000 pounds of ice. Okay. Hot drinks. About 2%? So what's 2% of 20,000? Your 400,000?
407,750.
Okay. And the cost of goods on hot drinks is 13%?
53,000
Whoa, 53,000. Okay.
and 7.
0.7?
007.5.
0.50. All right. Now somebody walk me through this. What's popcorn?
3%.
3%. Now that sounds really weird. We're in a concession operation and we're selling 3% popcorn. Can that be right? Well, it's right because it's in the book.
Yeah.
Okay? Here's my point. Each type of event has a different priority. So for example, if this wasn't a stadium and it was a movie theater, popcorn would probably be 29 to 30% of sales. Sodas would be 50%. Candy would be about 15%. Does that make sense? And generally speaking, if we were to go to stadiums and arenas, we just basically pull out popcorn and plug in hot dogs. So you end up with 50% here, about 20 to 25% in hot dogs and sausages, and the rest of these categories kind of fall into place. That make sense? Okay, so we got popcorn at 3%. What's that number?
611, 625.
611, 625. And what's the cost, Marley?
0.8.
0.8. And since you're so smart, what are the total, what are the dollar fees?
489, 300.
400?
489, 300.
489,
300.
That can't be right. Not even close.
48,000.
This is 600,000, and I'm taking 8% of that, so it's got to be less than 10%. 10% would be 61,000. So it's probably 48,930.
Yeah.
Just off a decimal point.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You're starting to see, you got to be very careful with your numbers, because if you get off a little here, a little there, you're going to get the questions on the exam wrong. All right, peanuts. 1%. So that's going to be, let's see, 200,000.
203,875.
And the cost is 33%? What's 33% of 203?
672.
Nope.
67,000.
Thank you. 67 what?
$67,278.74.
0.75. All right, we're making progress. Ice cream?
1%.
1%. Guess what? 1% here is going to be the same thing here. So it's going to be 203, 875. And what's the cost? Ice cream goes at 38%.
$77,472.05.
77,000.
$472.50.
All right. So we went really fast there. You guys with us? Do you know where we're getting there? Good. Candy turns out to be 0.5%. So 0.5%. So it looks like it's going to be 101,000. Is that right? What's 0.5% of 20 million?
$101,937.50.
And the cost on ice cream? 35%?
How did you put 0.5% in the
It's
calculator?
in 0.005, because it moves over 2 decimal places.
Right, moves over to, that's right, good for you.
Percentage, 35%.
It should be right around 35,000, 36,000 and something.
35,678.13.
35,678 and 13 cents. All right, we're almost there, guys. Nachos, 0.5%. So again, we should just mimic this. It's 101,937.5, and the cost is 31%. I guess it's gonna be 31,000 and something. You okay, Kevin?
Yeah, it threw me off with the tobacco on the sheet and then not in the book.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, so I do that for a specific reason. I do that for history. There was a time when smoking was very popular among everybody. And people were smoking in the stands and all that kind of stuff. And it turns out that concession stands had to sell cigarettes. Did you know that?
Why don't they
It's
just
no surprise.
Should've made a lot
Well,
of money.
smoking is banned in stadiums and arenas. And so
Yeah.
there's
It
no
used to
re-
be so accepted.
Yes.
And now it's just like.
Yeah. So if you went to a football game, like at the Liberty Bowl, everybody would be sitting in their seats smoking cigarettes and there'd be a big cloud over them. And people would run out of cigarettes at halftime and they'd want to buy cigarettes. So that's just a reminder so I can tell you how old I am. Okay? All right, so what is this number?
$31,600.63.
31,600 or 61?
$600.
Yeah, even?
Yes, and
Okay.
then 63 cents.
63 cents, all right. Other is 19%.
3,873,000.
Slow down, 3,008,800,
173,800.
3,073,000,
625.
okay? Even?
It's 3,873,625.
Even. Dot. All right, and the cost? 34%.
1,317,032.50.
032?
032.
Thank you. And-
Point 50.
Thank you. All right. So why did I put other in here? I put other in here because you have things like pizzas.
Pretzels.
And pretzel, yeah, all those other, and if we were going to do this in real time, we would list every item. Okay, we put hamburgers, cheeseburgers, chicken tenders, pizza, pretzels, everything. But for the class, if you don't get it by the time we get to other, you're not gonna get it. Does that make sense? So I just boiled everything down to 19% just to kind of speed up the process. Is that fair?
So would you say for this practice makes perfect, the more you work problems like this, the better at it?
Yes. That's the case with everything. Remember the first time you got on a bicycle? What happened? You guys probably at your age, they had training wheels, so you never fell over. But the first time I got on a bicycle, is I was off balance and I tried to get it to go and crash. So I get back up on the bicycle and I pedal a little bit and I go a little bit further. Now if I get on a bicycle, it's been years. It's been a long time since I learned how to ride a bike, but I can still do it because you do repetition so much. It's like driving a car. I don't know about you, but before I even turn, I have my turn signal on. It's just like methodical. All right, so what's our ambition here? What's our goal? What do we want to know?
You want to know your forecasted cost of sales.
How do we figure that?
Add all of them.
Add them all up. Please do that for me. So you're going to add up this and 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 this.
When you add percentages, I know this is probably crazy, but I'm having a brain fart. When you add percentages, do you do them as decimal points and then make the percentage, or do you just do it as normal numbers?
I didn't understand that.
When
I
you
would say
add-
you'd either do one or the other.
When you add up the percentages?
Yes.
Do you make those percentages the decimal numbers and then add it up and then get your percentage?
Okay, so in mathematics, this number right here can be shown as a percentage, but you were very wise when you explained it to her. Decimal point could be this. But when we're doing a number like this, okay, because of math, multiplying, what I want you to do is to add up all these numbers. And I tell you right now, if it doesn't equal 100%, we did something wrong. So 20 plus 15 is 35, plus 40 is 75, plus 5 is 80. 80 plus 1 is 81, plus 19, that's 100%. So we did that correct. We want to add up all these numbers right here. And what should this total? If we've done our number or math correct, what should it total?
20.
That's right.
20.
Add it all up. This is checks and balances. So now, when you're taking your exam and you're going through one of these processes, you can add this up and it should equal 100%. You add all these numbers up and it should be 20,387,500. And if it's not, what do you do?
Check your work.
Check your work. You start over.
Okay.
I can tell you, I've seen kids, students that have taken this exam and they've gotten all the way through, like Form C, and they realize, oh no, I made a mistake. My sales number can't be right, and they have to start all over again. So you know we've already spent like an hour and a half doing this, right? Okay, so can we confirm this? Is this correct? Did you guys add these numbers up?
No.
No? Okay. Did we add these numbers up?
I added those up.
What did you come up with?
I got
Crap.
4,053,800.
4 million, just 53,000?
4,053, comma
Okay.
808.76.
I got something too.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
so
got
where
something
you're
different?
trying to
I got
divide them.
4,356,808.60.
Okay. That's what I got too.
Who got that? You got something different than
I
Ariel?
got what you got. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like the flu or a cold?
No, I was just right. It's a dad joke right there.
I just have to be sure you're paying attention.
I was right.
You were right. What'd you get, Kevin?
I didn't.
You didn't do it?
No.
Okay, well, you gotta do it. What'd you get?
I don't know, dude. I knew I was gonna butcher it.
Wait, which one are we
I want to add this total up right here and see what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to figure out how much money am I going to have to buy materials. Remember, we talked about the 5 M's. Right now we're on materials. We're going to get to manpower in just a second. People. So it's not 4 million, it's 4 million.
356.
And then what?
The rest
808?
is right.
76? 3 and 3, and that would be correct if I add these numbers up, so there's got to be a 6 on the end. All right. So Marley, now your boss says, well, what's it going to cost me food cost-wise? And what do you say?
I'm still working on it.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm almost done.
Caroline, what are you going to say? The boss says, okay, so I like the numbers of 20 million, but how much is it going to cost me to start this business up? What are my materials going to be? What's my food cost going to be?
It's gonna be $4,356,808.76.
Good. Very good. So now I'm looking at $20 million in sales, and my initial cost is only going to be $4 million. So that leaves what? About $16 million in gross profit. Now I feel really good. $16 million in gross profit makes me happy. Now, on the test, there'll be a question like this. So what is the food cost? Perfect. This is theoretical. This is no waste, no mistakes, no accidents. This is perfect cost. What is my food cost going to be as a percentage? How do you figure that? What is my food cost as a percentage? So you see all these numbers here? A lot of times what students will do is they'll take 0.32 plus 0.11 plus 0.14 plus 0.13 plus 0.08 plus 33. They'll add all these up and then they'll divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They'll divide by 10. That'll give you the average, correct? Is that correct?
I feel like it's a trick question.
It is a trick question. No, you don't do that. And the reason you don't is because there's a basic sales mix and cost mix. Okay? This right here is sales mix. This tells us the volume of business we're doing in each category of sales, right? So hot dogs is certainly higher than, say, candy or nachos. And hot dogs at 32% is going to carry a stronger weight than something down here at 0.5% and 31. So what you do is you take this number divided by your 20 million.
And that gets you.
That gives you your food cost as a percentage.
So the theoretical cost.
That'll be your theoretical cost. No mistakes. So what is that? What's 4,356,808 divided by 20,387,500? In other words, you could just take this number, okay, and put it on top of this number, and it'll become a ratio. 4,356,808 divided by 20,387,500.
21.37%.
21.37%. All right, this is the first time I'm going to ask the question. It's not going to be the last. Is that good or bad?
Of your total cost?
Is 21.37 a good food cost?
It's usually around 30.
Should be around 30.
It's like 32 or 33.
So yes, it's good. It's below.
Yeah, so it's not good.
Well, 21.37 is less than 30. Where did you come up with 30?
That's just what my company uses.
That's what your company uses.
Yes.
So if it's below whatever your comp set is.
That's exactly right. She said it differently than I typically say it. The company sets a standard. So at the University of Mississippi, our food cost is 23%. Would this be good or bad?
That would be bad. That would be
It'd
good.
be good.
It'd be
Oh.
good because it's less.
Oh,
I don't have
less.
spending less on food.
Oh, okay.
Okay? In his particular case, in a restaurant, food cost is typically 30 to 32%. So this is a whole lot better than running a restaurant. That make sense? So you have to set the standard. Every company has a different standard. If at Ole Miss the food cost is 18%, is this good or bad?
That's bad.
It's not to our standard. Okay? But remember, at Ole Miss we only do $10 million, right? And here we're doing $20 million. So here's another trick question for you. When you go to the bank with your nightly deposits, or the end of game deposits, do you deposit dollars or do you deposit percentages? Dollars. Too many times in our industry, people get all focused on, oh, I've got a 21% food cost, and everybody else in the industry is 25. Is that good or bad?
That's good, right? If your food costs
I mean,
under.
it's good.
What's the most important thing?
How much money you make at the end?
How much money I make at the end of the day. So in our industry, we have people all the time talk about per capita. Well, my per capita is $5, or my per capita is only $3. My per capita is $12. Everybody charges different prices and they're in different regions of the country. So in New York City, for example, in movie theaters, they're paying $10 for a beverage. In Malco, you pay $6. What would the difference be in per capita? New York would be higher, right? Because they charge more. So it's not really fair to compare. All I care about is how much money do I get to put in the bank. You understand? So percentages are basically efficiency ratings. And what you want to do each year when you do your budget is judge yourself against what I did the previous year. So let's just say we're at 21.37 for this upcoming year at the University of Illinois. What would I try to do next year?
Beat that.
Yeah, this or lower. God bless you. 21%. I don't even have to be at 21.3. 21. Don't try to be 18. Just try to beat this number so you can be consistent. Does that make sense? Fair? All right. Any questions? On your exam, there'll be questions like, you're going to be given a case study, and you're going to be given these forms. You're going to fill the forms out, and then the questions are going to relate back to the forms. So for example, one of the questions might be, how much money do you expect to earn in hot dog sales? Where would you go?
You would do the,
How much money are you going to make in hot dog sales in this account?
You would go to the dollar amount of sales.
Right here, 4,077,500. okay? How much money do you need to buy popcorn for the year?
611,000.
Nope. That's sales. How much money do you need to buy popcorn?
48,000.
48,000. I need to have this much money to buy the popcorn. The popcorn then is going to produce this much revenue. Does that make sense? You might say, okay, what do you expect the overall food cost to be? What would that number be?
21.37.
The 21.37%.
I'm still not getting that. How did y'all get that?
How did we get that?
You take the dollar amount product
Of
cost.
cost
and then you
divided by the
divide it
total
by your
sales.
Annual sales.
I tried that.
Okay.
60.
Let's do this. Let's simplify it. We'll start low and then we'll grow. I have hot dogs.
Mhm.
By the time I buy the hot dog and the bun and the ketchup and the mustard, it costs me 50 cents.
Mhm.
I sell the hot dog for $1.
Mhm.
What's the cost of the hot dog as a percentage?
$1.50. Well,
Nope. How would we do that? What's the cost?
50 cents.
50 cents. How much am I selling it for?
$1.
So you put 50 cents divided by $1 and what do you get? 50%.
Well, 50%. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Same thing. Bigger picture. This is all the hot dog sodas and everything, $4 million. What am I selling it for? 20 million. So my total cost is 21.37%. Got it? Fair enough? Okay, let's take about a 5-minute break, just so everybody can get up and stretch. And we'll come back at 11:20. Is that fair? Get some water.